salsa time. No, just kidding. But we are making a black bean soup. So I'm Jamila, this is Udaya, and I'm gonna show you guys a really simple recipe for making a smoky black bean soup, right? So you're not even gonna miss all of that meat that, you know, people like to put in their soup, right? Because we're vegetarians, we're vegans, and this is gonna be great. So let's get started. We have our pan on the heat, right? It's nice and hot, it's been heating up. We're gonna add our favorite oil of choice, extra virgin olive oil. Add some of that to the pan. There we go. A couple of tablespoons of that to get things lubricated, get things going. And to that, to form the base of our soup, I'm gonna add some onions. About a cup of chopped onions, right? Ooh, yeah, that's nice and heated. So that's a great pan, great sauteing going on. Getting real hot and spicy in the kitchen. Okay, so we're gonna add some onions. And this is not standard, but this is something I kind of started doing. I had some carrots one day and I was like, I think that'll be good in my black bean soup, you know? Just add a little bit more bite. And it worked out really well. I like to add it from now on. About 3/4 cups of diced carrots. We're gonna saute up all of our ingredients in this pan, and then we'll finish it off in a soup pot. And that's just a nice, like, little kitchen trick, you know, for getting kind of a lot of flavor in your soups, and just, you know, it kind of makes things go a little bit faster because you got a nice surface area for sauteing. So we're gonna have the carrots and the onions cooked down. Then we'll add some garlic, another layer of flavor, and then we'll start adding our seasonings, okay? To the carrots and onions, I'm gonna add a little bit of just fresh cracked salt. Besides actually just kind of like pulling out flavor, making things taste good, it also helps when you're sauteing to pull out a lot of the water and helps things to caramelize a little faster. So caramelization is really what gives you all of that flavor in anything that you're doing, especially when you're sauteing, right? So that's like that base flavor, which is a little bit different than if you just like threw everything in water and boiled it. It's not gonna taste the same. So adding that salt really helps to caramelize. So to add our garlic, we're gonna use a garlic press, which is something that I love in the kitchen. We're doing about 3 small cloves. You can do 2 large cloves. You can add as much garlic as you like. So we got 1. And these 2 small ones can go in at the same time. They're pretty small, so we can press them both at the same time. And you get all of that amazing garlic flavor. And you add the garlic after you've sauteed your carrots, your onions, any of your aromatics. You want to add it kind of towards the end of that saute so that you don't burn your garlic and it kind of gets bitter and you lose the flavor. All right, so that looks really good. Smells good. You'll see the onions start to kind of take on some of the color of the carrots. They start turning a little bit orange. They're softening up. They're not quite so white. So we will continue. What makes this soup earthy and smoky? We have cumin, which is like really a lot of, used a lot in Southwestern cooking, kind of like Latino cooking. So we'll add a couple of teaspoons of cumin, real earthy, just great flavor. And the trick that gives you that smoky flavor without adding like what would be a standard like piece of ham or even some bacon is smoked paprika. And you guys can't smell it, but if you ever get, it's used a lot in Spanish cooking, and it's really, really good. So smoked paprika is what we're gonna add to there. And that gives us that smoky flavor in the soup. Gives great color, and paprika is just like a really good background notes in the soup. So we keep sauteing that. And these are your aromatics. This is the base of just kind of like the vegetable flavor in the soup, and everything else is gonna come together real easy. So I'm definitely all about quick, easy meals. This is one of those soups that is really simple. When you start off with the right ingredients, it's got a lot of flavor, nothing too complicated, right? So we're gonna take that off the heat, and we're going to get a soup pot, put that up to high, and start building everything else in here. So we want, this is one of my little cheats. I like to kind of get a bouillon cube. I do a nice little veggie bouillon cube, add that to the pot with some water, and that's how you start off with a nice soup base. So I'm gonna start off with maybe about 2 cups of water. This is not a soup that we want too brothy. This is definitely gonna be more of a creamier soup. Not quite as thick as like a chili, but really good. And this is the equivalent of maybe like 1 cube of bouillon just broken up in there, so it helps to kind of break up really fast. And this is your broth base. To that, we're going to add a couple of bay leaves. Bay leaves, just another layer of flavor, really good. You get that bay flavor, and the way it mixes with the cumin and the smoked paprika is just really, really delicious. So for this, we want to make sure that our black beans are not super mushy, but they're pretty broken down, because you want this soup to kind of get real creamy. So, you know, our black beans, and these were canned. So when you get canned black beans, they're cooked down really well. And what I did was, this is the equivalent of 2 cans of black beans. One I kept with the liquid, and I rinsed off the other one. So we don't have too much of the liquid, but we have enough that'll give the soup some body. So we're gonna add that to our soup pot while this broth is simmering with our bay leaves. So we're gonna add the equivalent of 2 cans of black beans. And you just wanna be careful when you're adding, you know, your beans to the pot of soup, because you've got hot liquid and you don't wanna hurt yourself, right? And just add that right there. Oh, this looks good already. And it's got nice, rich color. You don't want too much broth in this soup because it'll kind of wash out the color. You want nice and dark. Okay, guys, so the next ingredient, and it's kind of a cheat ingredient, cheat number 2 in the kitchen, ketchup. I know it sounds crazy, but it works really well. So this is the equivalent of like, you know, tomato paste really doesn't work that well. Ketchup kind of has a little bit of flavor. It has some acidity to it, and it has a little bit of sweetness. So instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna add some tomato paste, some fresh tomatoes, add some, you know, some kind of sweetener and all of that, you can just go straight, get an organic ketchup, you'll feel great about yourself. And, you know, nobody will know. So I add that to the pot. So we add our ketchup, we have our bay leaves, this is cooking, and so now we add our aromatics that we have already been sauteing, okay? We add that to the pot. So this handle is a little bit hot, so let me get a pot handle. So this is the carrots, the onions, and the garlic with the cumin and that secret ingredient, smoked paprika, that we're adding to this soup pot. And this like black bean soup, oh my God, it's so good. Just like really, really good, really, really, really amazing. I made this for a friend of mine, and she just was like, oh my God, girl. And I really just came up with it just playing around one day. I was just wanted something really simple. I had some black beans, and I just kind of like know what flavors work well, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna throw a little cumin, put a little paprika on it, add some carrots, and it just really turned out really well. So last thing, just for a little flavor and a little punch, and I love black beans and cilantro together, we're just gonna add about a 1/4 cup of cilantro. And for the most part, this soup is done, you know? The longer you simmer it, the more the flavors come together. The beans are already cooked. We've already sauteed all of our veggies. We've got smoked paprika in there. It really is hitting all of the notes, right? So you can press some of this black bean down and kind of like get this soup a little creamy. But we are ready to plate. So we have our soup bowl. Let me get this out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And I always love just kind of like color, so I always add something green for color. Beyond just having a little bit more bite with the carrots, there's also like some more color, and it just kind of make things a little bit just meatier and having a little bit more bite, so it's not so flat, you know? And just look at that, right? You've got some good body, so the ketchup kind of worked itself down into giving like great body for the soup. The black beans, because you know they were already really cooked well. If you don't do it from a can, that's fine, but you just want to cook it down really soft so that it kind of breaks down into the soup. And you know, you can serve it with some bread. You know, you can dollop a little bit of sour cream or something if you want on it, but for the most part, this is ready to go. We can squeeze a little lime to brighten it up. And we're done. And this is our smoky black bean soup. Easy, simple, quick meal. Thank you.